We're going to California. Robert Hamilton Owens.
Hi, Ben. Hey, great to listen to you today. I want to throw out a couple words. One is humility,
Mhm.
and the second one is coachability versus teachable
Mhm.
and greatness. And what I see is that you, as a performance coach, people choose to buy in and listen and grow because they're coachable.
Mhm.
In the business section or sector, I find a lot of young men and women that are not coachable because they don't have humility and they think they know more than they do. And so you try to help them more than they're willing to listen.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's something that you give, which is a mentorship that they have to buy in and say, take that X principle from 10 to 20 to 30 in my life. And I find very few people want that kind of instruction or coachability.
Mhm.
And they ceiling out because they can't learn or can't listen, or they're insecure and they're afraid to say, I really don't know what I'm doing. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Again, it reminds me of the Hall of Famers versus just a great player. And again, I think every player in the NBA is great. There's people there that you wouldn't believe it, are just excited to just make the paycheck, and that's it. You won't see them taking extra shots. You won't see them doing anything extra, just because their talent got them to that space. But then there's that person that again wants more, so they're going to seek out the massage therapist to say, hey, I've got this little tweak over here. Can you teach me some things to do outside of just working with you? Right? They're going to sit down with their front office folks to say, hey, what are some things I can do to better help this team as a veteran on this team now? Right? I'm stepping into a role that I've never been in before, but I definitely want to help people beyond just the court. The folks that seek out information in the business world and are passionate about it, they typically succeed. I've worked with this one doctor who has got his own, entrepreneurial journey outside of his the practice that he's involved in, and he's wild. I mean, his to-do list is ridiculously crazy, and he gets a lot of things done, but he also hits a lot of brick walls. And when we started to work together, he just pretty much was like, "Hey, tell me what to do." And I said, "All right, well, we're gonna get our values aligned, and then we're gonna look at this list and then figure out what actually connects to the list." And the crazy part was it was like 4 or 5 things. And that was about 2 to 3 years ago. He's now shifted values throughout the years because he moves so quickly, but he's gone out of his way to be more intentional, slow down, and he's got a lot of the things on his list done, and surpassed some of the things that he actually thought he was going to take years to do just because he was going out to seek the support, right, and seek the system that was going to allow him to now 100x, all the things that he had going on. So for the ones that don't want it, um, you know, it's not a bad thing, right? Sometimes, they just need to kind of run their race until they get to a space where they believe they need support. That's one thing, but the ones that do, I try to show up wholeheartedly for them and make sure that I'm giving them what I can do to help them on their journey.
I think it's so frustrating when you see someone with great talent, but they're not real coachable. They hit a level and they go, "No, I'm good," and you go, they
Well,
just
they get humbled. They get humbled so many times. I remember one young guy on the Sixers. We had the transition from our old coach to our new coach, Nick, who's there now, and Nick's system is just completely different than Doc's system. And this guy, he would go, a little too hard. Again, giving 100% is one thing, but he would always do like 150 every day, and everybody kept telling him like, "Hey, man, you got to slow down." And he was frustrated that he wasn't playing. And we were like, it's the NBA, bro. You're going to play at one point. Somebody's going to get hurt. The rotation is just going to change, and you need to be ready to play in a game versus, just practice good or practice great. And he finally got his opportunity to play randomly because, again, a player got injured, and he went out there and it was flat. Didn't have the energy, didn't have the focus, didn't have the sharpness that he needed to have, and he rode the bench the rest of the year. And so sometimes you have to get humbled, right, and go through that process. And unfortunately, on the business side, the humbling could be, you not having, success in a quarter or success in a whole year and bringing in the finances that you probably need to bring in. But that's why, again, you find the right communities. You put yourself in positions so that you can learn some of these things from experience versus having to learn on your own.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
Yep.